Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today is the day where I do my book wrap up for the month of May. Oh, that rhymed. I was not even planning that. So I'm going to be talking about all of the books I read this month. And this month I read a total of 7 books, which may not sound like a lot, but I only started reading again on May 14th. So a little over 2 weeks ago, which is pretty impressive if you ask me. My cat's on my bookshelf. She's wants to be in the video always, the center of attention. So here are the books I read. The first book I read this month was 19 Minutes by Jodi Picoult. This book was very good. I got it in January. I also did a book review on 19 Minutes, which I will be linking below. It's about how a small town deals with the aftermath of a school shooting. This book discusses topics of bullying, popularity, and who can really judge another person. The next book I read this month was Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma. I also did a book review on this book because it was so good, and I'll be linking that below. Forbidden is the tale of 2 teenagers that basically have to raise their younger siblings when their mother is not around. She's not the most attentive mother in the world, and as a result, these 2 teenagers have to grow up much faster than they otherwise would have. This book does deal with some kind of racy issues, so I would not recommend this to younger readers. It's definitely for mature readers. But it was a very good book, and you will not see the ending coming at all whatsoever. I'm still shocked by it. If you have read Forbidden, comment below so that we can talk about it, because I absolutely loved this book. Moving right along, the next book I read in May was An Abundance of Catherines by John Green. John Green is one of my most favorite authors, and after purchasing An Abundance of Catherines, I now have almost a complete set. I'm only missing Will Grayson, which was a really good book. I read that in high school, so check that out if you haven't before. An Abundance of Catherines follows the character Colin Singleton, who was a former child prodigy and only dates girls named Catherine. So after being dumped by the 19th Catherine in a row, his best friend takes him on a road trip to unwind. While along the way, they run into some predicaments, and Colin spends the road trip figuring out the theorem of underlying Catherine predictability, which will help predict future relationships and hopefully help him get the girl. It was a very entertaining and fast read. I loved it a lot, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who's looking for just a quick, funny, good-hearted book. The next book I read, which is missing its dust cover, was Allegiant. Yes, I finally got around to finishing the Divergent trilogy, and I was not disappointed. Allegiant was an amazing book, and you know, that ending, guys. You know how the book turned out, because I'm getting to this book really late. Sorry about it. I'm not going to say too much about Allegiant because it is the 3rd book in the trilogy, and I don't want to give anything away for people who for some reason have not read the Divergent series because they're crazy. But I will say that it was a really good end to the series. I kind of had the ending spoiled for me, so I knew how it was going to end. I think maybe that was what was stopping me from really powering through and finishing the book. But I'm glad that I finally did. I hope that they keep the movie for Allegiant very close to the book because it was so good. The next 2 books I read this month were Fangirl and Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. Fangirl was so good. I have been raving about this book. Fangirl follows a girl named Kath who loves writing and writes fan fiction for a book series called Simon Snow, which seems to me to be a bit like the Harry Potter series, which I found very amusing. Kath has a twin sister named Ren, and right before going to college, Ren dropped the bomb that she does not want to room with Kath in the dorms. So, being a little bit nerdy and having a little bit of anxiety, Kath was understandably nervous about her first year of college. So Fangirl really does follow Kath on her journey of figuring out how to be her own person and really embrace her inner fangirl. It was a great, lighthearted read. It did deal with some deeper issues, but it had a really great balance between the two. 100% would recommend. I know you are going to get sick of me saying that, but this book was so good. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's it. I'll stop. Eleanor and Park was such a cute, lighthearted read. I'm so glad that I read it. I read it in one sitting. It follows Eleanor, who is a new girl at her school, and Park, who has a love for music and comic books, and inevitably they fall in love. And it was such a cute, adorable story. Oh my gosh, my heart. It just filled my heart with such joy and happiness, and I even laughed a little bit. It was really good. And the last book I read in the month of May, I was really excited about it. If you watched my book haul, you'll know that I was very excited to read this book, and I was not disappointed. And it is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book in the Lunar Chronicles, and it followed a girl named Cinder who is a cyborg in New Beijing after World War IV. And there's a plague that's going around, so that causes a lot of turmoil in the newly developing world. It's filled with some politics. It's a retelling of Cinderella, so that was kind of fun to see the parallels between the stories because I love fairy tales so much. And I finished this book a couple days ago, and I'm itching to get the next one in the series, so that's going to be on my TBR list for the month of June. And those are all the books that I have read this month, and now I'm going to be telling you what my TBR list is for the month of June. In May I read 7 books, and since I started so late, I figured I might try to up the ante a little bit in June. Push myself a little bit harder, so we'll see how that goes. The first book I'm going to read in June, I actually started reading, so it's really going to be finished. And that is The Land of Stories by Chris Colfer. It may seem kind of like a childish book, but I'm about halfway through and I have loved it so far. It is about Alex and Connor, who are twins, and they are given a fairy tale book by their grandmother, and strange things start to happen. That's all I'm going to say about that one. It's so cute. If you like fairy tales, you will love this book. It's not just for kids. Obviously, I'm 23 years old, but whether you're a kid or a kid at heart, I really think that you'll enjoy this book. I have so far, and I'm so excited to finish it. The next book I'm planning on reading this month is Shadow of Night by Deborah Harkness. This is the second book in the All Souls trilogy. The first book is called A Discovery of Witches, and I absolutely loved it. This series follows Diana Bishop, who is a descendant of the bishops from the Salem witch trials. So it's all about magic, and there's other supernatural creatures, but it's really great. It's kind of like an adult supernatural book because it's just, the language is really intelligent and it's handled in a very sophisticated way, and I love it so far. The only thing that has stopped me from reading this book is that I didn't know that I owned it. I don't remember buying this book, otherwise I definitely would have read it already and probably finished this trilogy. It's one of my favorites that I've been reading, so I'm really excited about this book. Another book I'm planning on reading this month is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I know nothing about this book, but I've heard some people say that it's a little on the creepy side, which means it's right up my alley, and I'm really excited about it, y'all. Also this month I'm planning on reading The Fifth Wave by Rick Yancey. I know nothing about this book except that it's about aliens, and that's a new topic for me, so I'm actually pretty excited to read this one. And my fiance is really excited too, so who knows, maybe we'll do like a co-book review after we've both finished it. Next on my list is Dorothy Must Die by Danielle Page. I love The Wizard of Oz so much, and this seems like a darker spin on the tale, so I'm really excited to give this book a shot. Also on my list to read is The Endgame by James Frey. I don't know much about this book either, except the cover is gorgeous, and I'm really excited to read it. But it's a little hefty, so I don't know if I'll get through it this month, but I'm going to try my hardest. Another book that's been on my TBR list for years, yes, years. I've had this book for a very long time, and I keep starting it, getting parts of the way through, then get busy, and this is the kind of book that I don't want to just pick up when I have spare time, because the world is so incredibly developed and I don't want to miss a single detail, and it is The Child Thief by Bram. If you've never heard of this book, it's so good from what I've read multiple times. It's a retelling of Peter Pan, but it's dark and twisted and macabre, and I'm really excited to get all the way through this book. It's a very like squarely shaped book, so it's long and kind of thick, but I'm going to read it this month. Oh my gosh, I've been wanting to so bad, and now's my chance, so I'm gonna do it. The next books that I'm planning on reading this month, I don't have a physical copy of yet, but I will be getting them soon, and that is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. That is the second book, as I mentioned before, of the Lunar Chronicles, and it's a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood. So I'm really excited to delve deeper into this world and this story. The next book I'm really looking forward to getting to because I've heard amazing things about it, and it is A Court of Thorns and Roses. This book is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which is my second favorite Disney movie ever. Oh my gosh, I love Beauty and the Beast. So I'm really excited to read it. I've been hearing that it deals with fairies. And the last book that I'm hopefully going to be able to read this month, I've had it on hold at the library for a couple weeks now and it still hasn't come in, so I might just have to purchase it. Aha. And it is The Red Queen. I hear that this is also a really great book. I'm excited to give it a shot. I've heard amazing things about it, so hopefully I'll enjoy it and it will live up to all the hype. Well, there you have it. That was my book wrap up for the month of May and my TBR list for the month of June. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe to my channel to see more of my videos. Comment below if you have read any of the books I mentioned in this video, and we can talk about it together and make friends, because friends make the world go round. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!